So we'll get started and see if somebody else joins us in a little while. But just let yourself really be held by the earth beneath your mat. And just imagine yourself lying in a place that feels really comfortable and safe. And hopefully that's where you are right in this moment. But if it's not, maybe picture a place where it feels that way. Maybe you're lying someplace near a beach in a soft sand and just really feeling the warmth underneath you, letting yourself fully relax into the earth. Of course, you're welcome to use another image. And just really take a moment to fully arrive on your mat in your body with an intention to be fully present moment to moment in a gentle way, in a non-judgmental way to what's happening in your body, what's happening as you stretch and move later on. And just take a moment to invite your eyes and facial muscles to relax. Experiencing for a moment the mouth from the inside out. So maybe just having a sense of the gums and the teeth and the tongue inside the body, tongue resting at the bottom, the root of the mouth. Inviting any tension in the shoulders or neck to relax, just by bringing attention to them, inviting them to relax, along with the arms and the hands, the heart and the belly, the hips, legs and feet, all relaxed. And then with this embodied presence, see if you can bring your attention to the sensations of breathing if you haven't already. Just feeling the in-breath, feeling the out-breath. And really tuning into this miracle of the breath. If we contemplate that there's nothing that we need to do to breathe, it just breathes itself. Somehow it's built into our human bodies that there's this organism that just breathes itself. And so when you really take that in, that imagine that if you had to pay attention to the breath every moment, we probably wouldn't be able to do that and we would die. But instead, there's this miracle of the breath that just breathes itself from the moment that we're born to the moment that we die. So whenever you can, just breathing with awareness and with a sense of gratitude for being alive, for being kept alive by this breath, moment by moment. And then if you can bend your knees and just place the soles of the feet on the earth from here, that would be wonderful. Having the feet somewhat aligned under the knees or a little bit ahead, but really as close into the buttocks as possible is probably best. And then on an in-breath, just stretch your arms up overhead and gently let them come down behind you. As you exhale, slowly bring them back forward and then gently set them back down in front of you with your out breath still. So we're going to breathe our arms up overhead, relax them and back, and then exhaling slowly back down. See if you can coordinate, or rather initiate the movement with your breath. So it's always the breath guiding you into the movement. Just a couple more times, just to feel the body stretching in this initial way, bringing some gentle energy into the body for the class. And then when you bring the arms back down, just pause here for a moment. Relax your shoulders down, arms right by the sides of the body. We're going to add a little bit movement to this. So on the next in-breath, we're not just going to breathe our arms up, we're also going to breathe our hips up as best as we can, and then relax the arms behind just as we did before. Keep your hips up, and then exhale slowly back down, setting the arms back down, setting the hips and buttocks back down. Inhaling, reaching the arms and hips up. Exhaling slowly back down. And we'll continue with this flow again, this time having added the hips. And just adding them in a way that feels a little bit challenging to you. So you don't have to draw them all the way up, but just maybe working 75% to lift up the hips as best as you can. So you have a little bit of a challenge, but you're not over challenging yourself today. And then really just coming to enjoy this movement, to enjoy this flow. And then one more time, inhaling up in this way. And this time, keep your hips up as you keep breathing into the stretch. So the arms are overhead, the hips are still lifted. If you want to add a little bit to the stretch, you can leave your hips up and just bring your arms down and lace your hands together behind your back while you keep your hips up. And then this time really pressing more into the feet so you can bring your hips up a little bit higher. And just enjoying this deeper stretch if you have chosen that for yourself. If the arms were overhead and it doesn't feel comfortable, you can just bring them down. You don't have to lace your hands, but keeping the hips up and pressing firmly into the soles of the feet. Imagining that there is a yoga block in between the knees and you're gently pressing your knees into the yoga block. And we'll just be there for one more breath. And then exhale, slowly relax your buttocks back down into the earth. Hug your knees into the chest. We'll gently rock from side to side, just to give a little counter stretch, a soothing massage to the lower back. And then we're going to keep our left knee hugged in, just with your left hand. Stretch your right leg out. If you can't comfortably stretch it all the way out, maybe you just keep the knees a little bit bent and keep your soles of the feet on the ground. Otherwise, stretch your right leg all the way out and press the sole of your right foot back. We're going to stretch our right arm overhead and relax it down just like we did in that flowy bridge pose. And then with the left hand, we're going to guide our left knee out to the side. So we're getting a little bit of a hip stretch here as well. So just as much as you can to feel a nice challenge there in the hip. Maybe again, just sort of 75% of the way. Maybe not all the way to our edge today, but just breathing here and enjoying the opening of the chest that's created through the arm overhead. Breathing into wherever you're feeling the stretch most. Long and gentle breaths. And then very gently guide your left knee back to the center. We're going to switch hands. So we're going to hold on to the left knee now with our right hand, maybe to the outside of the knee. We're going to relax our left arm out to the side onto the ground. And then you might begin here by shifting the hips over a little bit to the right, because we're going to come into a twist lying down. So we're guiding the left knee all the way over to the right side. Once you found the place where you feel like, okay, I've stretched here enough, I'm going to stay here, you can turn your head over to the left. And just making sure that you're not stretching so far that your left shoulder is coming off the ground. You want to keep the left shoulder grounded on the mat and relaxed. And then just begin to fill this twist with your breath. Deep and full. Feeling the body lifting and opening with the in-breath. And a sense of relaxing and letting go with the out-breaths. One more deep in-breath here. And then as you exhale, find your way back to center. Have your back return fully and evenly onto the mat. We're going to hug our knees into the chest again for a moment, rocking from side to side. As you come back to center, you can keep your right knee hugged in and then stretch your leg, left leg out on the mat, however you did that on the other side. We're gonna guide our left arm overhead and then place it down behind us to really get that nice opening at our heart center and our lungs. And then with our right knee, our right hand holding on to the right knee, you're just going to guide that knee out to the right as best as you can. So you're feeling a nice stretch here in the hip, in the leg, maybe the inner thigh. And just again, maybe just stretching the hip about 75% today, so you're not going all the way to your edge. But wherever you are, just enjoy the openness in the hip, in the heart, in the lungs that's being created through the stretch. Just filling it, filling the shape you've created with your body, with your breath. On the next in-breath, we're going to guide the right knee back to the center. We're going to switch hands. So the left hand will hold on to the right knee on the outside. We're going to place our right arm onto the ground next to us in a T position. And then again, maybe shifting the hips first to the left before you then come into your twist over on the left side. Making sure that your right shoulder blade can stay grounded in the earth. And then when you've reached your maximum stretch, you can turn your head over to the right side. And just beginning to fill the stretch with your breath again. Ever more expanding your whole body with each breath, creating more space in the body. Inhaling slowly back to center. When you get there, you can hug your knees into the chest again, maybe a little bit closer, and we're not going to rock from side to side this time, but rather really drawing the knee in as close to the chest as you can. And then the next step is to gently guide the sole of the right foot down onto the mat. We're going to lace our hands together behind the left thigh and then stretch the left leg up, and we're going to come into a flossing sensation. So that means we're just gently bringing the leg up and slowly back down. It's really good if you ever have sciatica to do what's called flossing. If you want to add an additional stretch, you can, while you do that, stretch your right leg all the way out. It becomes a little bit more challenging, but that's not at all required. But we're just going to move the left leg from the knee, flexing and bending in this way for a few more rounds. Yeah, and moving at your own pace. And then as your leg comes down again, you can bend into your right knee again, place the sole of the foot back down if you had stretched out your leg. And we're just going to place the left ankle on top of the right knee. Take your left hand and then press the left knee away from the body. Just feeling that initial gentle stretch while you flex your left toes in towards the left knee. Just breathing into this gentle stretch. And then the next step is that we're going to lift our right foot off the ground, and you can lace your hands around the back of your left thigh and then gently flex your right foot as well, and then feel as if you're pressing your right foot in towards the body. So you're coming a little bit deeper into a hip stretch here. If you want to go even deeper, you can instead lace your hand on top of your right knee, feeling even more of a stretch in your left hip. And then if you want to go even deeper, you can even lift your head off the ground, guiding the right knee in towards the knee and the head towards the knee, coming into a little crunch. So whatever position that I've offered, whatever option feels right to you, just take that. Not one is better than the other. Just breathing here. And still allowing the breath to be gently and long and slow as best as you can. Exhale, release out of the position. Make sure your left foot is on the earth and you still have your left ankle over your right knee. We're going to bring our arms out into pilot airplane arms rather. And we'll come into a different kind of twist from here. So we're going to guide our legs over to the left side again, keeping the left foot on top of the right knee. It's going to create a little bit of a different twist. And keeping that foot on top of the right knee helps us to come into a deeper stretch here. If you want to, you can turn your head over to the right again, fully relaxing your shoulders, enjoying a few moments of breath. Inhaling everything back to center slowly, hugging the knees into the chest, this time rocking from side to side again. When you come back to center this time, you can hold there in stillness and begin to relax your left sole of the foot down into the earth, into your mat with a knee bend. We're going to stretch our right leg up so that the sole of the right foot faces the sky. Place the hands behind the right thigh. And then begin to do that flossing sensation again. Foot up and down, moving at your own pace. If you had the left leg stretched out on the other side, you can repeat that here, of course. Whatever feels right to your body. Just continue to move in this way. You might experiment going a little bit faster, but only if that feels right on this side. Just a little bit longer. And then just hold the right leg in stillness as the foot came back down. We're going to draw the left leg in so that the sole of the foot is on the earth. And then we're going to guide the right ankle to be right on top of the left knee. Take the right hand to press the right knee away from the body, feeling a stretch in the hip. And then flexing the right toe in towards the right knee. Just feeling this initial stretch in your hip, your right hip. When you're ready, you can bring your left foot off the ground and then lace your hands around the back of the left thigh. Flex your left foot and then imagine that, or actually not imagining, doing that, bringing your right, pressing your left foot in towards the body. So it really deepens that hip stretch on the right side of the body. Let your shoulders relax as best as you can. If you eventually laced your hands on top of the left knee on the other side, do so on this side as well. If you brought your head off the ground and then guided your head towards the left knee, you can do this on this side as well, coming into a little crunch. And then just settling into this pose with your breath for a few more rounds. Wherever you are today with this stretch, with whatever form of it you've taken, is just right. And then exhale out of the pose, release your head back down. And if it came off the ground, release the sole of the left foot down to the mat. Relax your arms out to the side near your mat on the ground. Keep your right foot on top of your left knee and then gently guide your legs over to the left side, coming into a twist again. Using that foot on top to guide you deeper into the twist. And once you've reached your final destination in this twist, you can turn your head over to the left again. And just deepen your breath here, taking the deepest breaths of the day so far to really, really benefit from this twist as you're infusing it with your breath. Inhale slowly back to center. Hug your knees into the chest. No rocking this time, just drawing the knees in towards the chest. And then we're going to set the soles of the feet back down. We're going to lift you can rest your arms alongside the body. And then we're just going to slightly lift the buttocks so that we can set the hands right under the buttocks and then sit the buttocks down onto the hands. And then we're going to lift both legs off the ground into the air, coming into a supported shoulder stand from here. We're going to stay here for a little while. You can imagine that you're breathing in all the way down the legs into the feet. And as you exhale, relax a little bit deeper into the supported shoulder stand. And just feeling, if you can, the blood trickling down the feet into the legs. It's really important, not important, but it's really beneficial to practice a pose as often as we can where the heart is under the lower part of the body. So I'm sorry, I meant to say an inversion. Probably didn't say that right, didn't come out right. And then, yeah, if you want to bring some movement into the legs, maybe crisscrossing them or one ahead of the other. Just find your own playful movement here as you're keeping your legs up a little bit longer. Some of us might want to bicycle out the legs, sort of imagining that we're out somewhere in beautiful nature riding our bike. If you're doing that, you can also make sure to do the opposite direction on your bicycle ride. And just being playful with your legs for a little while, just moving them and flowing them in a way that feels supportive to you at this moment. Maybe bringing some joy into your yoga practice, just allowing the legs to dance in whatever which way. And then when you're ready, you can gently guide the knees back into the chest. Actually, let's place the feet down so we can release our hands from underneath. And then let yourself just come over to one side into a fetal position, maybe using the arm to support your head, placing the other hand in front of you, and just resting here on the earth for a few breaths. Just taking in all the stretches that we have practiced so far. And then when you're ready, you can find your way onto your hands and knees in your own way. So really take your time so that you're aware and mindful of how you're moving to come onto your hands and knees now. Taking our time to get there. And then we're going to place, first of all, spread our fingers really wide like starfish and then place them right under the shoulders, the knees, or under the hips. And we're not going where you might think we're going. We're not coming into a cat and cow. But instead, we're going to take our right hand and then bring the thumb and the pointer finger together. And then just begin to make circles with the right arm, moving it behind us and then all the way forward, and just drawing circles in the air to get a nice opener in the shoulders and in the arms. Or rather the shoulder and the arm on this side. And just come into your own rhythm with that. If you want to get a nice little eye stretch along with the movement, you can let your eyes, your right eye in particular, follow the movement of the arm as it's circling around. Couple more rounds. And then this time as the arm comes up, keep it up. Have the fingers spread wide. We're going to come into a needle pose from here. So take one more deep in breath. And then as you exhale, draw your right hand underneath or in between the left hand and knee, and then stretch it away from your body, away from the mat as far as you can, so you can relax the back of your right head onto the mat. Relax the right shoulder down. You can come onto fingertips on your left hand and then really press into the fingertips so you can come more onto the side of your head on the right side. If you want to go even further, you can stretch your left arm up into the sky, coming into a needle pose. Imagining that you're breathing all the way up to the left fingertips. Deep and full breaths. Maybe 3 more here. Exhale, slowly relax the left hand back down. Press yourself back up into a table posture with your left hand. And just take a moment to set yourself up again, spreading the hands wide like starfish under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And then we're going to bring the left thumb and index finger together and then begin to circle again. Big circle starting in back of us and then moving all the way forward. And if your eye gaze wants to follow the movement of the hand, that's wonderful. If it wants to be closed, that's also great. Nice opening for the shoulder. And then as the left arm stretch it up, hold it here for a moment as we prepare for our threading the needle pose. Take one more in breath here, opening the chest. And then exhale, guide your left hand in between your right hand and shoulder, stretching it away from the body as best as you can. And then releasing the back of your the left side of your head down into the mat, coming onto right fingertips a little bit in front of you, and then really pressing into the fingertips so that you can place more weight onto the back of your left side of the head so that you feel your heart center lifting. And then if you did this on the other side, stretch your right arm up into the air, into the sky, coming into the full version of thread the needle pose. Deep breaths, imagining the breath traveling from the heart all the way down the right arm into the fingertips on the inhale, and then on the exhale from the hand, the arm, back to the heart. One more in-breath. Exhale, release the right arm down. Press yourself back up with your right hand, coming back into your table pose. And we're just going to move through a few cat and cows just to help neutralize the spine again. Breathing in as you're coming into your cow pose, lifting the heart, lifting the gaze, and then exhaling, rounding the spine like a cat, releasing your head down. Just flowing through like that, a few rounds at your own pace. And then in a moment, we're going to add a little bit of a flow. We're going to add a downward dog to this flow. So let's all come into a cow pose on the in-breath. And then as you exhale, curl the toes, lift your hips, come into a downward facing dog. As you're inhaling next time, we're going to come back down onto the knees, uncurl the toes, look up into a cow pose. And then exhale, we're going to add a child's pose. So coming all the way down onto the mat, releasing the head. Inhaling back to hands and knees, curling the toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhaling back to hands and knees, uncurling the toes, looking up, coming into cow. Exhale, round the spine and come into a child's pose. So just coordinating the movement in this way. We're going to flow through a few more rounds. And if another flow feels better in this way, just take that. Maybe just moving in between table pose and child's pose. But if you want to add the downward dog, feel free, whatever feels right to you. Just really enjoying the movement of the whole body in this particular flow. Last round, wherever you are. And as you bring your knees back down and uncurl your toes, we're going to come lying down on our belly, but supporting ourselves with our forearms. So that means we're coming into a Sphinx pose, the elbows under the shoulders, and then stretching the legs out behind, uncurling the toes. We're going to press the lower arms down so that we can really lift the chest here as we come into Sphinx. And then turn your head over to the right side, holding your Sphinx pose. Taking a few breaths into the twist on the right side. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling, looking over the left. Enjoying a few rounds of breaths here into the twist. Inhale back to center. And then exhale, we're going to relax the head all the way down. We're going to relax the forehead into the earth. And then bring the arms alongside the body with the palms facing down. See if you can really let your shoulders relax down into the mat here as well. We're going to come into a core building stretch from here that really helps us build strength in our midline, even though it's still quite a gentle, deeper stretch. So we're going to begin by actually now moving from having our bodies be supported by our forehead. We're going to relax the chin down into the earth. And then we're going to curl our toes under and back. And keeping the toes on the ground, we're just going to lift the legs off the ground. And you can feel the buttocks pressing in towards the midline as you do so. And then as best as you can, draw your shoulder blades together and back. So maybe the thumbs will come off the earth. It's like you're squeezing an orange there in the back of the shoulders while you keep your legs off the ground. Keep your legs off the ground, squeeze everything in towards the midline. Deep breaths. Two more breaths. And then exhale, uncurl the toes, sit the feet back down to relax. And then we're just going to have our arms to the side of the body still, and then lift the chest, peel the chest off the earth. You're going to have the arms raised up behind you so that the chest can really lift here. Feel this deep heart opener here. The legs are connected to the earth still. It's just the chest is up, the arm is up, the shoulders are up, obviously. The head is up. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just bring your hands under the shoulders. Lift yourself slowly back up. We're coming into a child's pose from here. And whatever version you want to take, if you want to have your arms overhead, stretched all the way out with no bend at the elbow, that's wonderful. Or if you want to just have the forearms down or the arms alongside the body with the palms facing up, whatever feels most beneficial to your body in this moment. Deep breaths here into the lower back, relaxing the hips down with each exhale. Just for these last rounds of breath in child's pose, see if you can really smooth out the breath. Even in breaths and even out breaths. And we're going to come up to standing from here through a downward dog. So we're going to gently guide our way back into hands and knees, or rather onto hands and knees. And then whenever you're ready, curl your toes under. We're going to enjoy a nice downward dog stretch on the out breath, just holding here for a few rounds of breath so that it really gives us an opportunity to stretch out the whole body, just feeling all the limbs being stretched in this downward dog. Imagining that you're pressing the hands forward away from the body so that the hips can really get up a little bit higher. And then allowing the heels to come down towards the ground a bit more. Just enjoying this deep stretch here with your breath. Probably one of the most beneficial stretches in yoga is downward dog. Breathing up and down the spine. And then very gently begin to walk your feet towards your hands so that you're coming into a forward fold at the front of the mat or towards the front of the mat. We're going to just stay in this forward fold for a minute, maybe holding on to opposite elbows, gently rocking from side to side. And when you come back to center this next time, you can just hold in your forward fold, but just relax the arms down. Kind of come into sort of a nice rotation that's very beneficial for the hips. So have your palms facing in towards the body, and then we're going to breathe the arms and the torso up towards the right side, all the way to the right, lifting the arms all the way up overhead. And then exhale, we're going to release over to the left. And then we're going to come over to the right again. Big hip stretch, hip opener in this way. Torso rotation in one direction, clockwise direction. And just keep flowing in this way, a few rounds. And then when you come folding forward, just pause here for a while, for a moment rather. And when you're ready, we're going to go opposite direction, counterclockwise, in the same torso rotation. A couple more times on this side. And then as you exhale, just come back into your forward fold. Just settle in, let your arms relax, let your head relax. You're going to move the hands over to the right side, coming into a little bit of a side stretch. So if your fingertips don't reach the ground, you can just maybe let them rest, sort of holding on to the ankle, the outer ankle, whatever's right. Breathing here into the side stretch. And we're going to come into a little bit of a twist here. So we're going to take our right hand holding on to the left ankle on the outside and then stretching the left arm up into the sky. Deep breaths all the way up into the left fingertip. One more deep in breath. And then exhale, release the left arm back down. We're going to walk our hands over to the outside of your right foot. And just enjoying a few moments of breath here. Deeply breathing into the left side of the body. We're going to take our left hand and just place it to the outside of your left ankle and then stretch your right arm up into the sky. Coming into a nice twist now on this side. Imagining that you're breathing all the way up into your right fingertips. You can keep the knees slightly bent if there's any kind of pain sensation in the knees that gets created here. Exhale, release your right arm back down. Come into your forward fold. We're going to place the hands in the back of the lower legs and then just really guide your head more in towards the legs, deepening the forward fold here. We'll take a few more rounds of breaths here. And then just relax the arms forward. Once again, we're just going to stay in the forward fold for a moment longer. From here, we're going to come into rowing across the ocean motion. So we're going to bring our arms out to the side, sort of like a reverse swan dive, bring the torso up, and then gaining momentum, we're going to stretch our arms up and then all the way forward, bending deeply into the knees. Inhaling, coming back up, arms out to the side, opening the heart, arms overhead, and then exhale, rowing motion forward, bending deeply into the knees. So we'll just keep flowing in this way, a few more rounds. It's kind of a little bit of a sun salutation in its own way. Two more. And then as you come into your forward fold, we're going to uncurl the spine to come back to standing vertebra by vertebra. We'll practice a tree pose today for our balancing pose. We haven't done that in a long time, or at least I haven't seen you practice that in a while. So if you need a wall to support yourself to practice the tree pose, that's perfectly fine. But just make sure that you begin by having your feet about hip width apart. And then we're just going to bring the weight more into the left foot so that the right foot comes slightly off the ground. Have your gaze down onto a space on the ground ahead of you to help you with your balance. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring your right foot up and place the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left lower leg, maybe the upper leg if you can go that high today with your balance. You can bring your hands to the heart center here. Have your chest nice and open, and this can be your tree pose. Or if you want to add your arms and stretch them overhead and find your own expression of tree. The arms might sway in the wind like the branches of a tree to help keep your balance. That's perfectly fine. And if you come out of the pose, no worries. Just guide yourself back into the tree as best as you can. Wherever your hands want to rest in tree is perfectly fine. Take a few more breaths here. And then relax the arm position, hands to the hips. Going to draw our right knee forward and then step your right foot back down, maybe shaking out the legs for a moment. Coming back to standing again with your feet hip width apart. And then we're going to slowly bring our weight more into our right foot this time. Slowly and steadily finding a gaze point in front of you. The left foot comes very slowly off the ground to be placed to the inner lower left leg or the inner thigh. If you get there, you can have your hands at the heart center. And then find whatever arm position or expression of tree that you did on the other side. You might have to come in and out of the pose a few times. That's just fine. balance back to the heart center. Slowly shift the left knee forward, release back down. Let's just shake out the whole body for a moment, just relaxing out any tension that might have been built up in the body. And just to let you know, we're gonna end in stillness today, but in a standing posture. So we're not gonna come lying down on the ground, just to give you a sense again that while you're standing, you can also really help relax the body. So whenever you feel ready, let your body come into stillness. Make sure that your feet are hip width apart. The arms are just resting alongside the body. If you feel comfortable, relax your face, your eyes. The eyes can close. Let your shoulders relax. Your chest open. Feel your belly soft. And just noticing that movement of the breath in the belly, in and out. If there's any tension in the buttocks, inviting the buttocks to relax. The legs relax. And the feet resting on the earth. So just keeping a gentle awareness on your standing posture, as relaxed as possible. The eyes closed if that's comfortable. And any thoughts that come into your mind, you can just picture them like clouds in the sky, moving in and out of the sky. No need to hold on. Just resting in the breath, resting in the body. And slowly begin to deepen your breath again after the short time of rest, standing. Feel the breath lengthening up and down the spine. You can bring your hands together, rub your hands together in front of the chest, bringing a little bit of warmth and energy back into the body. And then you can place the palms of the hands right over your eyes, your closed eyes, and just receiving this nourishment into your eyes. You can rub your hands over the face. Maybe into just a few gentle motions to the head, all the way in the back of the head, starting at the face. And just maybe massaging the ears, the earlobes, stretching them a little bit away from the body. And just tapping at the chest. Tapping into the lower back, back pummeling into the lower back. You can make fists too, moving up and down the spine. And down the right leg, tapping. The left leg. And then all the way up, just tapping at the hips. And then hands to the heart center in front. Just taking one more conscious breath here to end the practice. And namaste, dear friends. Thank you for your practice today. I hope you have an enjoyable afternoon, all of you.